Hey everyone, Ice King here, and welcome back to Gharlghast Part 5. We are doing the leathers and metals today. We'll jump right into it. Starting out with the leather, doing a dark umber base coat. Just kind of establish and block out the areas where we want to put the leather. Overall, we're going to be going for a pretty distressed look, because I'm going to make it look like he's tattered and torn and kind of fresh out of the ocean. Which is hence the use of the rust there, so this should blend all well together very well. Next up is a 50-50 mix of dark umber and light umber. I'm sipping my coffee. This is a beautiful Saturday morning, and a lot of this is going to be out of frame, of course, because I'm a professional. There, and doing thin coats, just trying to build up the layer slowly, leaving the dark umber in the recesses. Now doing mostly light umber with just a smidge of dark umber, and then doing thin coats and doing even less coverage. Now just pure light umber, and you can be as sparring with this as you want. I'm kind of just touching the edges. You can go brighter if you want. You can go dark. You don't even have to do this step if you want. But this is just, I'm doing edge highlights here with light umber. And now I am mixing in some bold titanium white into the light umber and doing an even finer edge highlight. And this is where we're going to start adding some more texture to it and doing scratches and just slowly, just like this right here. Little lines, micro scratches, and it'll just help add texture and volume to the miniature. And here I'm doing just pure bold titanium white in the tiniest of dots, except that one right there. Moving on to the face, we already did the skin, so you got to paint the mouth now. Starting out with magenta as the base coat for inside the mouth. And you 100% will need 2 coats for full coverage on this. Take your time on it. Don't rush it. You want a smooth layer. And we're going to add some texture to the mouth now, because it's got all that good bumps and texture sculpted into the miniature. We're just taking pink and dotting it on to all the little dots, edges, making our own little scratches and texture. Kind of have fun with it. This is one of the funner steps. This is where you get to see the texture of the model actually show up. This next step's a little weird, and you're gonna have to do this by ear, or not by ear, by eyesight. We're doing a glaze, and I've never done glazes before, so I am not that well versed at it. I followed the tutorial, but I have Pro Acryl Glaze Medium. You take the paint color you want to glaze with, which in this case is burgundy. And then you take some water and you mix it together, and you want to get this thinnish coat of paint. And I'll leave all this in, you can see. But you kind of have to it's 1 part paint, 2 part glaze medium, 2 part water. Play around with it, have fun, and just see what works best for you. I will let the rest of this run. As you can see me kind of tinker around with it and just play around with it. This is my first time doing it, so that was definitely a learning experience and something to test with. It is dark burgundy, not just burgundy. Here we are applying it to the mini, and you're just glazing it over. It's almost like a speed paint that you made, but you're putting it everywhere. And I'm making sure to get it in the recesses, because those parts are probably going to be where the darkest part of the red would be. And I'm adding a little bit more to near the teeth, because I'm not going to paint the back of the teeth back there. You can see me adding it where the gums would be. Going into the teeth now. Doing the bottom half, the part where it extrudes from the jaw, doing just dark golden brown and pulling away from the base of the tooth. And now we're going to do the top half of the tooth in ivory. And you want to pull from the middle of the tooth to the top of the tooth, because you want to pull the paint up towards the top, because that's where you want it to be brightest. Thankfully, we have a prime black already, so we're using that as like the middle step and like the transition between the dark golden brown and the ivory. You'll see a little bit of gold poking through. Don't worry about that. That gets covered over in the later steps and now. And then we're doing another glaze, but instead of dark crimson as our glaze base, we're doing dark golden brown, which was our base coat. And this is me not making the glaze, this is me cleaning it up. So I have Tamiya thinner, and you can see it kind of just evaporates that, and then I take a paper towel and just yeah, and it's all gone. And I love these metal cups. They're top tier for mixing. Now, doing back to the teeth, because that was a longer clip than I thought. They're kind of tinted that brown now, and you want to bring back more of that ivory touch. So you're taking the ivory and just doing the tops of the teeth. Doing the same thing, you're pulling towards the top of the tooth from the base, like the middle of the tooth. And this is where you want your brush strokes to be irregular where they start. You don't want super smooth lines. You want that texture and fade to come from the tooth. And you'll end up with a pretty, I was very happy with how these turned out. I'm using my thumb there to make sure there's not too much paint on the brush, because you want to just put a little bit on there and move it around as you see fit. Now moving into the other Gharlghast's head, the Spider Slinger, the Spider-Man head. Starting out with a base coat of Guardian Green from Army Painter Fanatic line. And I wasn't super happy with how dark that was, so I mixed Guardian Green and Coal Black. I'm going into the recesses and adding more depth to it. I wasn't really totally sure on how to paint a spider web that's green, because spider webs are normally white and silky and they're like almost transparent. So this was definitely like a trial by just doing it. Don't be afraid to do that with miniatures. Even if it's like your showcase miniature, you'll learn something from it and you'll be better for it. Also, don't worry about me messing up the tooth. I painted these teeth first, didn't like them, repainted them to match the previous step that we did on the mouth. So I'm being a little sloppy here, and that's why. Fumbled. Mixing Guardian Green and Pro Acryl Normal Green. And then just slowly adding layers and building that texture up on the mouth. Or the silk, spider silk. The web juices. Whatever you want to call them. I'm going another shade up. We're doing 2-to-1 with green and bright neutral gray. This is where you want to add that texture, the scratches. Just make it like unnatural but natural, because nature's random. Kind of just go crazy with it, have fun. And then now just very lightly and in spots, bright neutral gray. Or added more bright neutral gray to this, I should say. And I'm a goober and put it all out of frame when I did this. But you can see the scratches, and I'm trying to cross scratch them. And if there's too much, you can just wipe it away with your thumb. So this is things where you get a little mad scientist-y. In my head, I think of a spider laying out its web, and it's reflective and shiny. So I was like, oh, let's put some silver in this mix. So green, fluorescent green, and silver, and I'm just dotting this in random spots. And then now I'm using pure fluorescent green. Fluorescent green's a little transparent, so you can almost use it as a glaze by itself. If you put a dab of water in it, and you can kind of wash over the whole thing. And that's to tint the silver that we just put in there a little bit more green. And then a final stage of fluorescent green and bright yellow green. This is mixing of the fluorescent green with the yellow green. Again, it makes it kind of like a glaze and kind of transparent. So you can kind of put that in random patches and spots. And it adds like this grossness to it that I liked. And doing that just allows you more textures, more color variation. And then on top of that, you just put a gloss coat. And then I will leave y'all with the B-roll. Have a good one. Thank you for watching. I know this one's a little bit longer. I will see y'all in the next part. Have a good one. See ya.